Alright, let's pick up with number 3. We had a 10-foot radius fountain, and then we had a walkway around it that we didn't know how wide it was, but the area of that walkway was 69 pi squared, and we'll leave that pi squared. I don't know why I made it pi squared, but we'll leave it like that. Okay. So 69 pi squared. Okay, now if we take the radius of the big part, that's x plus 10 squared times pi r squared, and we're going to subtract off 10 squared pi. So 69 pi squared equals x squared plus 20x plus 100 times pi minus 100 pi. So now what we can do is we can go ahead in here and cancel out a pi from everything. And that gives us 69 pi equals x squared plus 20x plus 100 minus 100. Well, those two things cancel each other out. And now if I move 69 pi to the other side, I get 0 equals x squared plus 20x. So I was clearly going down the wrong path in class today. Minus 69 pi. Now, I have an answer of x equals 7.798 feet. How did I get that? I graphed it. That's how I got x. And that's how I suggest you do it. Now, you could use quadratic formula and work through it that way, but I'm going to say that graphing this thing is probably the easiest way. Now, number 4, we have a train that leaves a station and travels north at a speed of 75 miles per hour. That's 75 miles per hour. And then train B leaves 2 hours later, but it's traveling on a parallel track north at 125 miles per hour. Now, it asks how far from the station will the faster train overtake the slower train. Well, let's remember that distance is equal to rate times time. Okay, so this first train, its distance is 75 t. And for the second train, the distance is 125 times t minus 2. Okay. Now, it's important to realize that this distance and this distance need to be equal because that's where they overtake each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that 75t equals 125t minus 250. Okay. Now, if I subtract 125t from each side, I get negative 50t. That equals negative 250. And that gives me t equals 5, which is not what I have on the website. So let's try and solve it that way. Alright, let's see. What I obviously must have done is... Oh, wait. We didn't want to know what time, we wanted to know at what distance. So if I take my t and I multiply it by 75. So 75 times 5 would give me the distance. And that distance is going to be 75 times 5, which is going to be 375 miles. And hey, that is what I have on the website. Therefore, I was correct there. I just solved it in a different way. I took the time for the 75 mile per hour train and said that that was t plus 2, and t was the time for the 125 mile per hour train. Alright, I'm not as bad as I thought I was. Let's take a look at number 5. Number 5 says write an equation for y in terms of x, assuming that y is proportional to x and y equals 42 when x equals 6. Well, a proportional equation is y equals k, which is some constant, times x, right? K is that proportionality constant. And they tell us that y equals 42 when x equals 6. So the idea then is we solve for k. 42 divided by 6 gives us k equals 7. So the equation would be y equals 7x. Well, that was fun. Alright. Number 6, we have the system of equations, which is 4x plus 2y, and that equals 14. And then we've got 2x minus 8y, and that equals 8. And we want to find the value of y. We want to find out what y equals. So I think what I would do here is I would probably multiply this bottom equation by 2 and get 4x minus 16y equals 16. And then I would take that top equation, 4x plus 2y equals 14. And I am going to say that I would subtract the bottom equation from the top equation. 4x minus 4x is 0. Negative 16y minus 2y is negative 18y. 16 minus 14 is 2. So y would be 2 over negative 18, which is also negative 1/9. Okay. Now, number 7. Given f of x equals 3 plus x squared, it says to find f of x plus h minus f of x. Well, what this tells me is that wherever I see an x, I'm going to put an x plus h. So I'm going to have 3 plus, this time I'm going to have x plus h squared minus what f of x equals, and that's 3 plus x squared. Okay. Now I can do some multiplying here, do some distribution, and I get 3 plus x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. And I distribute the negative sign through, I get minus 3 minus x squared. Well, plus 3 minus 3 cancel, x squared minus x squared cancel, and that gives the answer being 2xh plus h squared. Okay. Alright. Number 8. Says find the slope-intercept form of the line through the points 1, 4 and 3, negative 2. Remember, slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. So what we need here is the slope, okay, which is change in y over change in x. So 4, 1 minus -2, the other y coordinate, minus 3. And 4 minus -2 is 6. 1 minus 3 is -2. So that gives us a slope of -3. So now we pick out our favorite point. I'm going to use that one. 4 equals -3 times 1 plus b. So that tells me that b equals 7. Right. So y equals -3x plus 7. Okay. Number 9. Given g of 2 equals 4 and f of x equals x over 2, they want us to find f of g of 2. Well, that means that we want g of 2 over 2, which is 4 over 2, which is 2. Oh boy. That's a fun one. Next one. Number 10. Last one. They want us to solve for x, and they gave us e raised to the -4x equals e. Now remember, that's really e to the first power. So if the bases are the same, we can cancel those out, and that means that the exponents have to be equal. So now if I divide each side by -4, I get x equals 1 over -4. And that is completed. Well, I hope this helped out. Sorry for any mistakes that were on there, any confusion I caused. And we'll see you in class, second hour.